What's up, Bills fans? Here we are, January 14th, 18, 2 days removed from Rick Dennison's firing. Bills have a new offensive coordinator, Brian Daboll. Not many Bills ties there. Just they don't even think he spent a year at William and Mary. I don't think there's really any crossover there between him and McDermott. Daboll was a restricted earnings assistant. Sean was a graduate assistant, so there is that connection there. Daboll, Western New York guy, fairly young guy still, had some stints in the league calling plays almost 10 years ago, 7 years ago. It's been a while, and those spots, very interesting that those spots all had the same common thread. They were spots where the coach was pretty much on the hot seat and getting fired, and that was the case in both instances. One was a coach, fired in season with Todd Haley in Kansas City, then Eric Mangini before that, Patriot ties. Wide receiver coach with the Patriots was he worked with Nick Saban, so there's more, just got done offensive coordinator from Nick Saban team, so there's a lot of that Patriots thread in this guy. After his stint in Miami, and he ends up back with the Patriots, I believe. Defensive, again, offensive assistant, he was wide receivers coach there when he back before, while back in 02, 03, 04, 05, and now he was a tight ends coach the last few years before he took over offensive coordinator at Alabama. So it seems like this is a guy that Bill likes having, and people are always like, hey, be more, this guy is, as I guess he's just as embedded as anybody else, and Josh McDaniels is a hot name out there in the circuit for head coaches and this. And if this guy has any type of that offensive acumen or has evolved in his own way, that's a plus. That's a benefit for the Bills. And hopefully, this guy just coming from college, having been in that structure and that system, where you see, even though we know that they're led by the GOAT Tom Brady, the space that offense creates with the scheme and the way those wide receivers, you see them just breaking open all the time, and it just seems like you get a lot of diversity with tempo and quick hitting plays, and just being able to really just confuse the team, but just methodically wear them down. And we all know it starts with the quarterback. That's why it's so key, I feel, to get this guy in early, because if there are going to be any preceding staff changes, that needs to happen now. There's three head coaching jobs available. What are they going to do? Want to fill those staffs out. There's other staffs around the league, and you want to get the best assistants possible. And we've seen the Pagulas are not frugal in this area. I'm sure they paid a lot of money for this guy. Sure, they paid a penny to get him from Alabama. He's not a guy coming in, pretentious head coach. Now, maybe this thing works out. This guy's going in 2-3 years as a head coach. That is the best case scenario for the Bills in this case. That means young quarterback came in, blew the fuck up. They won. This guy gets a head coaching job off of it. We all celebrate. That's how this thing works. But that needs to happen, because nobody's hiring Rick Dennison to be their head coach, So they're hiring the younger cats, the guys, and those Patriot ties will always be sexy. But if this guy comes in and gets a quarterback that he helps develop with the Bills, who've been quarterback devoid for 20 plus years, that's a feather in his cap that he can take to another team and say, proof's in the pudding. So, yeah, this is going to be interesting to see, if he's able to blend and meld those college schemes and pro schemes, and get some spread, some tempo, just, again, to keep the defense off balance instead of like the same old stale flavor that we've been seeing for so long. I tweeted out, it's like the last time the Bills had a upper echelon pass game was ranked 5th overall. It was 2002 with Bledsoe. I mean, 16 years? It's hard to fathom that it could be that long. It's just you just don't believe it. And again, it all starts with a quarterback, and but there needs to be a guy, because we've seen play calling matter. I mean, everybody kind of scoffs at play calling stuff. Take Kyle Shanahan away from Matt Ryan. There's a lot of weapons on that offense. You know, with those backs, Sanu, Julio, Hooper's a decent tight end. I believe they still have Taylor Gabriel. It's just, it becomes a slightly above average to sometimes average offense, and that play call last night was just so awful that it really exposes a weakness of a play caller that's not good, as opposed to one, it illuminates one that's good and one that's not good. So if this guy needs to make a change at the O-line coach or the quarterback coach, or whatever, I feel a wide receiver coach, I feel like, and I hope that McDermott has his full endorsement, and I believe he probably would have some sort of assurances that he could make those changes. But they need to happen obviously now, because you need to get down to the Senior Bowl. You need to start vetting these guys. You need to start trying to ascertain who fits the profile and McDermott's profile of what they want in an offense and in a player and in a quarterback more specifically, because there's going to be quarterbacks at that Senior Bowl that I'm sure the Bills have their eye on and want to vet and want to go all in on, and they need the guy who's going to be their primary sounding board, and it's going to be like your second wife if they don't have one already, their first wife in McDermott and and Daboll, because that's a huge that's a triumvirate right there that has to be like this in order for this thing to work. I mean, we've seen all the people, certain Bills writers with their, people that cover the team with their, slick little, like I tweeted, everybody's got the hot takes at the ready for this, all that queued up and have fired away. Let's let the man get a few quarterbacks in. Let's let him implement an offense and call a few games before we, cast the swift gavel of judgment down whether it's good hire, bad hire. I'm not here to say if it's a good hire or a bad hire, but how my personality works is I can't always look at everything doom and gloom. I can't do it. If you've watched my videos long enough, I'm not always this eternal pessimist that everything smells like shit until proven smelling like roses kind of guy. I'm going to give you the benefit of the doubt until you've proven you no longer deserve it. And so far, this regime has proven they deserve some benefit of the doubt and a little bit of, okay, these guys might have a clue. We need to all, recuse ourselves, step back and watch a little bit, and let's just see where this goes. That's it. We don't need to be, they don't have that whole burden anymore. It's gone. That's great. But as they said at the end of the year press conference, they want bigger and they want better, as do we. Because I felt, my thing was, I felt for so long that once that stain had been erased, it was like, okay, we've achieved our goal at One Bills Drive. We can kind of hang out again for another 5 years and kind of rest on our laurels, and nobody gets fired, and everybody can go around the campfire and sing Kumbaya and rainbows and unicorns and juju beads. No. These guys fired the offensive coordinator. They hired one. They, in short order, they obviously, the wheels obviously were in motion for this guy. This thing didn't just happen in a vacuum. They had obviously pegged this as their guy, and because they did it pretty covertly. I mean, he was a name, but he wasn't like, ooh, he's like, this is a guy. Like, this is a guy they're gonna go get. Like, you didn't see until it happened. So we're gonna find out. But again, it starts with a quarterback. This guy needs to get a quarterback that he can flourish with, and who the quarterback can flourish with him. They can both make each other look good. And again, if this thing works, this guy's getting a head coaching job in probably 2 seasons. And that is the best case scenario, bar none. I used to, rue the day that a decent assistant would go out the door to get another job that was like a promotion, but that's a good thing. And I want that to be the time again where it's like the Ted Marshall gets a head coaching job, and guys like Ferguson were getting GM jobs in other organizations, and you had scouts like Dave Gettleman and AJ Smith and all these guys that Bill's front office was just proliferated with studs. Their scouting department, it was just ridiculous. And everybody wanted a piece of them. I wanted to get back that again. I mean, the Bills, had Brian Gaine. He wasn't there for very long. Went back to Houston, so it's like never really got to, he was a behind-the-scenes office guy. Was barely there. Wasn't even there for a year. So it's like, how much can you have feels for the guy, But yeah. So I mean, offensive coordinator is it's a sexy position. He's got the Xbox controller in his hand, He's got the joystick, and it's like, hey, he's calling plays in the NFL, and that's a cool fucking gig. But you got to get it right, and you have to be cutting edge, and you have to be innovative, but you also don't have to get too cute. And we've seen all weekend long people, particularly in third and fourth and short, getting super cute. And guys that with pretty strong offensive reputations, they tend to just kind of dip into their bag of tricks a little too much. It's like, why? It's like you see the Pats, they just run up to the line, tempo team, and Brady sneaks it. This other, Saints run I don't know if it was a reverse or a pass, wide receiver pass. It was open, but he didn't hit it. I don't know. Maybe you pass it back. I don't know. Just, you had the Steelers today doing weird shit on fourth down. It was just like, it was fourth and inches. You got a 250-pound quarterback and Le'Veon Bell, and it's like this. I mean, come on. Seems this is way too stupid. The Jaguars at the goal line on fourth down. We're gonna pound our first round running back into the line again, and he's eventually gonna get in. So law of averages says this super talented running back that we drafted in the first round, 230 pounds, is just gonna rant, and he did. I mean, not sexy, but he did it. Anyway, Bills fans, again, it's kind of like this is our little bit of thirst quencher, slightly. We don't see a team run onto the field in Bills unis for half a year, so we're going to have these little incremental things to satiate us. And whatever staff changes come, you see them down at the Senior Bowl really, getting their fingers dirty with, hands dirty with these guys. That's going to excite us. And before we know it, we got the combine and the free agent, and we're going to start seeing the team materialize, and then their plans start to, become more clear. And then in the draft board for us draftniks, that we can mock our drafts because pieces, and then maybe a guy gets released. There's going to be all these things, and this is what happens. So it's an exciting time, kind of a downtrodden time because of the playoff exit after so long. But let's just see how this goes before anybody gets. I try not to get too high or too low, but guarded. Let's just say guardedly optimistic. I'm guardedly optimistic. All right, Bills fans, you have a good one. Take care. Enjoy the rest of your Sunday evening. Have a great start to your weeks, and let's keep abreast of any other changes that might come about in their staff. I really haven't heard of anything yet. I mean, maybe there will be. It was kind of an interesting news dump on a Sunday during the playoffs. NFL, I know, kind of doesn't like that, but who gives a shit? I mean, it didn't hurt. I'm sure it didn't hurt their ratings. So you guys have a good one. Take care. Let me know what you guys think. Always, please, feedback and whatever you feel like doing with the video, however you need to feel like want to interact with it, please do. Take care.